Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Harley here at EpicTube HD coming back at you with another epic video. We got another breakdown video that I decided to do after, I would say, months of contemplating about it. I've had several conversations with some friends of mine here in the Pokemon hobby, and I saw a stream tonight that I think it just got me to finally say, you know what, let's go ahead and let's make this video. So that's what we're here to do. Hope you guys enjoy it. Check it out. All right, everyone. So as you can see right here on the screen, I have with us, well, they're not live with us. This is Pokenomics and the Bulbasaur. Now, this was a live stream that they held tonight. It was Monday night, I should say. And I was listening to the stream, and towards the end of the stream, somebody in the chat, not me, somebody in the chat asked a question that I have been pondering myself for a really long time now. And I kind of just, like I said, felt like it's time to, let's go ahead and address this question that this person had asked. But let's go ahead and let's listen to the stream.
It's just the way it is. So this is kind of interesting, like why people's psyche is the way it is, but it's true.
That's a great question.
Why do people opt out of selling eBay TCG player themselves to vendors at 70, 65%? Or even worse, they go to card shops and sell for 50%. I understand trading is as you usually get offered 80%, but plus for trade-ins. Yeah, I mean, it's just
Abraham Sanchez asked, why is it that people opt out on selling on eBay or TCG Player for 85% to vendors for a 65 to 70%? I understand trading in as you usually get offered 80% plus for trade-ins. Now, this question wasn't exactly organized or structured in probably the most, most understandable way, but we all kind of get the gist of it, right? Basically, what this person is saying is, if you're someone who needs to sell a card or your collection or sealed products, whatever, right? Why wouldn't you take the road to do it yourself and save yourself some money by doing that? Instead, you go to these vendors at card shows and they're going to tell you right off the bat, hey, I'm only offering 60%. I'm only offering 65%. I'm offering 70. If you're really lucky, you might get someone who does 75, 80, all depending on what you have in your collection that you're offering them, right? And so this person is basically saying, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just stick with eBay or TCG Player, Macari, Instagram, Facebook Marketplace, right? Where you basically, you can sell your product for either 100% of what so-called market is, or you could, sell it and you'll have to pay a fee to one of the platforms that offer these selling services to you, right? So let's go ahead and continue listening to why they think it's a justifiable and good reason to sell to a vendor.
a lot of people have a very I don't know. They don't like the idea of selling online. They don't want to do the work themselves. It's much easier for them to go to their local shop or go to a local show that's in town and just get rid of it there. I don't know the exact reason. Do you have anything of why?
Because I've seen everything over and under the bridge. There's people.
Now, real quick, just to give you some context, Pokenomics, he is an investor slash collector, and the Bulbasaur, he's mainly a seller. Now, he says he has a personal collection. I think otherwise, I think he's a pretty good dude. I've enjoyed watching some of his videos. In fact, if you guys, I will put a link at the end of this video. I just did a video on vendor POVs at card shows. I wanted to showcase how that's kind of like the new trend right now in YouTube for Pokemon.
Well, one, there's a lot of them for giant deals. Like I've done massive deals, like emergencies. They want to buy a home. They're having a kid, retirement, or they're quitting. They just don't care about Pokemon anymore. They're like, someone was doing, hey, I'm quitting Pokemon. I'm getting into One Piece now. Hey, buy all my stuff. I'm like, okay.
I have personally seen that happen in the most recent card shows where I saw people selling to my friend's booth and some other booths that I was covering at the time. They were basically selling their One Piece stuff. So I thought that was pretty interesting to see. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to watch the people that come up to your booth or come up to a booth and want to offload their collections. Again, my good friend Mav Collectibles, I've helped him out at his booth many times now at Collecticons. I've literally watched the deals go down. I've watched them happen at other people's booths. So I see how it all happens. I know what's actually happening. I've witnessed it firsthand experience myself, right? I've even sold cards myself. I've sold them to a friend of mine, Polish Rob. Sold him some cards before. So again, it's not that I'm naive or ignorant to what's going on. I've actually witnessed it firsthand. Let's go ahead and continue listening in though.
A lot of people quit or they need fast cash. It's very fast. There's no eBay. I will always tell people you will make more money selling yourself. That's everything in life. You can fix your own toilet or you hire someone else. You can, it's always your say, it's really your time. That the time of yourself, but the time in this case to actually sell it. You can put it on eBay. It might not sell for 2 weeks, depending on what it is. If it does, you pay.
I'm kind of going through that myself right now. Actually, I am trying to offload some Lorcana packs. I've had them up on eBay. Yes, I did price them at the higher level based on what I saw in sales data. I was willing to do that to see if anybody jumped on it. I've now lowered them down, but it has taken a bit of time. Now I'm no rush. It doesn't bother me. But if I was in a rush, yeah, I'm looking. I need to get the money, and if I gotta lower it a bit in order to get that money, yes, I'm willing to do it. And I've seen that at the card shows. So no harm or foul towards any sellers out there who are buying people's, collections or cards or whatever the case may be. Those people are willingly selling their collections at those prices. So they're doing it because, as he just stated, most likely they're in need of some quick cash, and it's a good way of doing it. Is it taking advantage of them? No, not really. But then again, if these people go to every single booth and every booth is saying, no, we only buy at 60%, is that market? What is market? That's kind of the big question of this whole video right now that I'm making. Is it an actual term that means something? Is market a fake term at this point in time? Because it doesn't seem like the only people that recognize market are the buyers. Is this a real legitimate term as of this day and age? So I'm going to hold my opinion towards the end here because it's going to be possibly quite controversial. But let's go ahead and continue listening into the Bubble Store.
People don't know you pay eBay fee on sales tax too. So really you pay like 15%. You have to pay for shipping. If you don't have your own printer and stuff, you don't, if you go to like the post office, they'll rip you off with shipping. Depending on, and most people don't have expensive cards. So if it's like $100 cards, you're getting $80 after anyways, when you could have got $70 cash. You got to go use it. One, there's no paperwork now with all the new laws and stuff.
Yep.
That's a giant one, is the taxes, the forms.
I mean, $10, that's quite a bit. It does mean something. I always find it funny when people think a dollar means nothing. I have to teach my kids a dollar is a lot of money. Work for it. See how long it takes you to earn that dollar. So in that sense, I kind of feel like that was a bit of a weak excuse, justification, but he makes up for it in other ways with other things that he's saying. Let's continue.
Cash, it's easier. I mean, there's so many reasons why you'd want it, and some people don't care. They pulled it from a $5 pack, so the fact that they just get 70, they're like, oh, whoop-de-doo. One in the video I was just editing today, I just bought my very first.
Okay, I gotta stop it there. I know. So he just said something else that I thought was kind of interesting. So he's basically saying that anyone who pulls a card out of their $5 pack, they're just going to be willing to accept the $70 for it. Well, again, this brings into question, what is market? What's the market? Shouldn't the eventual buyer of that card, the seller, right? Or not the seller who pulled the card. I'm talking about seller as in the vendor, right? Or the person that they went to go sell the card to. Shouldn't they be recognizing market price? They won't. They will recognize market price, and they're going to tell you that, well, we got to make money on it too. Idea of this video is, what is market anymore? Is it really mean anything anymore? Market. Is it a term that should be tossed out, thrown in the EpicTube dumpster fire? I don't know. We'll find out here soon, right? Let's continue.
Pokemon box. He got the Charizard EX for 151. What do you pay? I was like, I pay $75, which was like 70% of at the time. He was like, okay, sounds good to me. Free money for him, and he doesn't care. Or on the same thing, people will buy something very cheap, and let's say they bought a Moonbreon when it first came out for $200-300. Now they sell it for, now it's 1,500 at the peak. They sell it for 1,200-1,300. They don't care. I mean, they're still making 100. It's easy money for them. But that's the big thing. If you want to squeeze the most money you can out of it, you would have already sold it yourself. But if you don't want the headache, if you don't want any paperwork,
so basically, again, the justification here is people don't care, they're making money. That is true, and I agree with him, right? The part he's not talking about, though, is being given an option to get market price from it. And that's because all the vendors are not willing to pay market price. Now, again, you're not going to pay market price if you're on eBay or Mercari, right? We know that already, or one of the other seller sites out there. Okay, and of course he is right. The new taxes and stuff, people are going to start getting banged on that. Again, that's still kind of a new thing, so nobody was really understanding it quite yet. Give it another year, probably this year and maybe even next year, and people will really start understanding what's happening with eBay and now the tax laws, right? Because nobody's really used to it yet. Again, it just comes to that whole thing where they're willing to take that extra because they don't care. Well, no, who says they don't care? If they go to you and they say, well, you're only willing to pay 70%, and they've already been to other vendors. Now, I've literally followed someone around who was trying to sell a card. I did as part of a video. Every vendor told him the same thing. Now, there was a 5% difference between some vendors, but pretty much everybody did the same thing. And so they were left with no option. To me, the first thing in my mind was, well, that's market then. If they're only willing to pay that much, that is the market price then. They're setting market. Now, if they want to turn around and sell it and try to make it higher, well, now they're increasing the market so that they can make their money on it. But market is what is being sold at. And if being sold is not what so-called market is, okay, this faux market, then, I mean, it's just not it.
You're really paying like 10%. And it depends, too, on how much. One card might be easier for you to sell. But let's say you want to sell your entire collection. I mean, no one's going to buy it.
And I think it's the same.
Sell it at once.
And I think that's definitely better in person for people in the chat, like risk of scams, risk of shipping damage, all that. But I mean, I think a big, kind of correlation is auctions versus buy it now. Like people just want the money now. They don't want to wait for something to buy it now or worry about the market fluctuating. Like, look, you could list a card for buy it now, and then in the next few days, the market shifts and you have 5 people lower than you now. Then you have to readjust your price and the market keeps dropping. And all of a sudden now you have this card up for 3 or 4 weeks. You're still not paid, where you can just get paid right away.
There's another justification to why they're basically saying, you should accept what the vendors are offering you, right? There's more or less what Pokenomics is saying is there's a time frame attached to things. And if you just don't sell it right away, what they want, who knows what could happen to it. You're right. It could go down, of course. It could go up. And, they're not probably paying the person who has the card who wants to sell it. There's a good chance they're not paying attention to the market. So they don't really know what's going on with the card. But they know the market. And they know that certain cards are on their way up. Certain cards are flatlining and certain cards are dipping, right? So they are very well aware of the market, this faux market, right? Of what prices are at and what cards are going up and what cards are going down. So they have a better understanding of it. Now, morally, they could be very upfront about things. And I have been around several of the vendors and they are very, very upfront. And I think that's a great thing. Just be upfront as much as possible. Sometimes being upfront hurts people's feelings. It does. I've seen it. Someone brings up one of their Charizards they pulled as a kid, beat to hell, scratched up, bent, whitening everywhere, creases, scratches, and they walk up going, my Charizard I pulled when I was a child is got to be worth $500, right? And they say, oh, I'm sorry, that card is probably worth about $20. and that's being kind to it. And they take it hard. That has actually happened, and I've witnessed that at my friend Mav's booth too, where people come up and they kind of get caught off guard, like, wow, I thought I had, you know, a gold mine here, right? So, but the difference is they do know the market, the faux market, that is. All right, let's continue.
You know, it's a big thing. Why do people auction their cards if they take less for them? It's to get the money. So why do people trade in at a card show? It's to get the money right then and there. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. And like the most people expect 100% when no matter what they can't get 100%. Even if you sell it on eBay, you have to undercut, because let's say I don't know, some store with 50,000 500% reviews has it for $100 free shipping. If you put it for $100 shipping, they're not going to buy it from you. They're going to buy it from another person. So you got to undercut it to 95, and then you're losing, and then all that. So.
And then it gets even worse.
All right, so he just said it. In fact, I want to kind of go back and let's replay that again.
Most people expect 100% when no matter what they can't get 100%. Even if you sell it on eBay.
Basically, he stated it, right? Most people expect 100%. Well, that's market. They expect market. Market said your card was worth 100, but he's straight up telling you you're not going to get market for it. Only we get market. Vendors, sellers, we only get market. You don't get it. Well, I'm a seller too. Well, if you're not selling to someone like yourself, you're not going to get market. And the thing is, you're not going to find too many people that are going to buy it from you. Because now, as he just says here in a few moments that I already played it, there's a trust factor. They're gonna go to him over you because of the trust factor. They know that at least they believe that he has the card and it is the real card. Whereas you, there could be some doubt that maybe the card is fake and they're getting one over on you, and there's no repercussions, there's no security, there's no insurance to that. They feel like if they buy it from him, there's some form of security and insurance to buying the card from him. And that is true. That is true. You do often pay more money so that you're basically paying for insurance and security. And people don't seem to understand that. It's just like your car. A lot of people will, they will not spend the money, full coverage their car out. They're going to go as low as possible to save a dime. But then when the accident happens and they're up the creek without a paddle, because even when I'm looking to buy, that's one of my big factors. With so much scamming going on in the hobby today, more so than I think it's ever been before, it's very scary who to buy from. Even some of my vendor seller friends have been scammed, especially buying from Japan. Japan was once a very safe place to buy from. You would never ever in a million years think that you would get taken over by someone from Japan. Well, unfortunately today there are people that are doing that. Now, whether they're actually from Japan is still a question, but it is happening. And so I get what they're saying. Let's go ahead. Continue.
You have to undercut, because let's say, I don't know, some store with 50,000 500% reviews has it for $100 free shipping. If you put it for $100 shipping, they're not going to buy it from you. They're going to buy it from another person. So you got to undercut it to 95, and then you're losing, and then all that. So.
And then it gets even worse because nowadays eBay's a lot of pay to play. So if you want to sell it quicker, you got to pay to advertise it.
Yeah. And then
so now you're 13.5% plus 2, 3, 4, 5% in ads and shipping. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it basically gets to 80% or less.
Once again, I completely agree with them. I think a lot of things are pay to play, and eBay has definitely gone that route. And so it doesn't mean you won't sell your card, but if you want to sell it faster, then yes, you got to pay that extra couple dollars. And again, that is a percentage taken away from your overall sale, and they are factoring that in. So, but again, they're also justifying why you should be okay with selling to them for even less, because ultimately to them, they want to buy your card as cheap as they can, because they're going to turn around and resell it so they can make money from it. That's all it is. They're taking the risk of buying the card from you, and you know, that their knowledge is going to lead them to making money on that card. So, you know, it's one of those things where trying to make justifications for why they offer their percentages versus, you know, the other platforms. And to be honest with you, they're fairly right for the most part. They really are. But again, it's all about that term market, man. All that term market. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean,
And now you're gonna be on a cool YouTube video. Oh, see, add value.
hey man,
So so now with the Bulbasaur, with his YouTube channel getting picked by the algorithm to blow up, but you might be on his videos if you buy from him, or if you come and you sell your cards to him, you could be featured, and people might think, oh wow, look, I was featured in his channel. People could, you know, they saw me. And you know what? As crazy as it sounds, that is actually a very big positive for him as a vendor. Over the past year, something has just come alive with these vendor POVs, man. And good for him. Good for all of them. That's why I made a video talking about this new trend of seller POVs. But I think they're towards the end here, and then I'm going to talk about why I don't like the term market anymore. But let's go ahead and finish this out.
honestly, I think you need to play that up a little more. There's some value there.
Oh, it's weird saying that. I don't want to. It's weird. That's like very arrogant. Like, oh, buy for me. You gonna be. I will never say it, but it's inherently acknowledged by people.
I think you could probably start
Very
pricing
true.
your stuff
Very
like,
true.
a little higher than everyone, and then when someone buys something, be like, hey,
Oh, someone did ask that. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I will price it at a range. So let's say, so for graded cards, there's always a range. It's not like TCG Player where it's $100. It'll be 180 to $220, and for the past 20 sold for, I don't know, Blaziken something. So I mean, I might price it at the highest range, 220, and then I'll take 200. But I won't do, if it's 100 to 220, I'm not going to put it at 250 to try to get 220. You know. So
well, I
I'll
was just
always
thinking,
be in
like,
the
just
range.
from like, especially if it's other like people that are in any type of content creation space, no matter what it is, just have that little shout out, you know, like, you know, they're buying your card, like, hey, you know, anything you want to say, and you just be like, oh, well, you know, some guy with like a few hundred subscribers wants to get a little shout out in your video. There's value to that.
Pokenomics is, again, they're trying to make a little selling point here for the YouTube crowd, you know, our crowd here, content creators, that if we buy from you, you know, maybe, and we're smaller than you now, that we can get a shout out, maybe someone come watch our video, you know, and it's marketing at the end of the day. I think that's something that needs to be discussed as well, is having proper notice, you know, at your booth that you are recording, especially if you're a vendor POV. I should have mentioned this in my vendor POV video, but I'm just now thinking about it. All right, let's continue. I think we're at the end here.
There's a lot of people. I think I did it maybe once or twice, but the only problem with that is everyone does it. So I stopped doing it. Like, people will be like, hey, can we do a shout out or something? And it's like, if you do it for one person now, you kind of have to do it. So I stopped doing that in general. Like, obviously, if there's like a reason to, or maybe, I don't know. But in general, I stopped doing that just because everyone asks for it. But I think another thing is,
I'm gonna say money talks. That would be the reason. So if somebody comes in and drops $1,000 to probably like 10, 20 grand, and they got a YouTube channel, and let me tell you, a lot of the content creators that are invited by Collecticon, or they show up to Collecticons on their own, usually are coming and dropping big time money. I know I just recently was watching a female creator who came in, and she dropped dimes, and of course, you know, she's already somewhat well known in the community, and her channel somewhat, you know, doing okay. Not huge by any means, but it's doing okay. But definitely someone like that coming to a channel like his now could really do well for someone like that. So I just wanted to get that out there. Let's finish.
It's part of the game, the negotiation game. It's fun for me, but it's your job to get the lowest price possible. It's my job to get as much as I can out of it. So in that range, I'm debating you, hey, it's 220, and you're trying to get it for 180 or lower. and then usually you meet at 200. So it, you know, when I buy, I'll do the same thing. It goes for 180 to 220. I'll give you the 200. I'll give you the 180. It's their job to debate the opposite. And if they're fine with it, they're fine with it. If not, then you go with it. And if it's not in their range, then the deal doesn't happen. But that's part of the negotiation and how you be a good negotiator. And that's literally like the fun of it. Otherwise, you're just doing online deals in person.
That is pretty much the wrap on that. Very interesting. Again, very interesting. This has been a question that I have pretty much spoken to, again, several vendors that I know, people who sell for a living, or even if it's part-time, right? And I've asked them this question because I've always said it's crazy that market price is one thing, but nobody in the hobby is willing to pay market price unless it's another, just an avid person, avid collector, maybe a player who doesn't have a choice, but then they're going to also reconsider who they're buying from. Is the term still mean something today? Is it still a real thing? Man, it's a real personal opinion thing, I guess you could say, but basically it comes down to this. Is market real? The term, the belief behind it, the system behind it, is it real? That term is no more. Okay, you just got to look and see what the average price is of something, and then factor in probably 10 to 50% less than that. Again, you could call it a tax, you can call it interest, you could call it whatever you want. It is, you're going to lose it if you're selling it on a platform that is more or less they're consigning for you. I mean, essentially that's what eBay is, that's what Mercari is. And when you go to a vendor, that's their justification is, well, we got to compete with eBay, we got to compete with Mercari, we got to compete with these platforms, and so, you know, we're not going to buy it from you because we already know you can't go there and get more money from them. So we got you, and you want the money now anyways, you know? So again, it's a weird scenario. I don't blame anybody from the vendor side. I don't want them to think that's what I'm doing. I'm not. This is just the way business is done. There is a lot of truth behind what they're saying. Go to eBay or Mercari and those other sites that they're going to sell for you. You're going to give up percentage to it and all that other stuff. So they are definite. There's validity behind what they're saying. There's no doubt about it. But again, the term market, we need to throw it out. We need to throw that term out. It no longer really means anything. So it's just a faux word to use nowadays. And that's the reality of it. But that's going to do it for today's video, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know, again, it's a long video. It's a reacting. We wanted to hear what they had to say. I wanted to give you my input and my thoughts around it. And again, I fully support, you know, anybody who is selling, anybody who's buying. It's all between you guys. And again, it's understandable. Everyone's trying to make money in this business because we're now on Wall Street, the Pokemon Wall Street. That's the era we're in, everybody. Gotta face it. That's just where we're at right now. Embrace it. Enjoy the hobby. Have fun. Stay positive. But that's going to do it from here at EpicTube, the Dumpster Fire Studios, everybody. And as always, have more epic adventures with me here at EpicTube HD. I'm Harley. Peace out, everyone. See you guys.